And we are back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. We are Frankly Football. I am your humble Brandon, and I got my man, 100 Grand, set it off, Chris, with me. How you feeling tonight, Chris?
Man, I'm good, man. We've been running around, man, trying to get this thing done, man. I'm it's late night oil, but we gotta burn it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We gotta burn it so we can get back in here. We got a couple weeks of training camp, and we finally had a game where we saw our beloved Cowboys play. So we got a little bit of commentary, a little pros and cons. We're gonna throw some things back and forth. So before we came on, we were talking about who was our biggest surprise and who was our biggest disappointment. Who was
Mhm.
your biggest surprise thus far in camp, buddy?
Um, Biggest surprise so far, I'd have to go with a guy like John Stevens, a guy who
Hmm.
you know we
Okay.
we wouldn't have known about,
Right.
who I wouldn't have expected to make any noise, but if you had to use an analogy, this guy's had a megaphone and has had an extremely loud camp. John
Okay.
Stevens has been one of those guys who has made it incredibly hard to make any decisions at his position.
I'm gonna kind of echo that. I can kind of speak on that because I think what you said, when a person says, "Hey, take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you," he took full advantage of with Luke Schoolmaker being injured, and then
Yes.
him having the opportunity to work in practice, use that big 6'6" frame of his, and showcase what he can do. Um, that kind of really helped him in camp, and what he did was what we expect most guys to do, is to take a strong camp and then put it on the field in the game. And that's what he was able to do in the game this week. So yeah, he's made it tough for that tight end four position, where we kind of thought it was already penciled in. And we were thinking, okay, hey, whoever's there is just gonna be there for GP, but he's gonna make it extremely hard, for Sean McEwen to
Yeah.
keep his job. The other guys that are on there, Princeton Fan, uh, and Seth Green. I think they were trying to vie for the practice squad, but I think that fourth tight end, which you kind of want to kind of carry three or four, um, yeah, my man, my man, John Stevens Jr. Stevens
Complicate
Jr.
things.
Yeah, huh?
Complicates things.
Yeah, he really does make it. He muddies the waters.
Yeah.
You would think you're going to take three, into the season. Schoolmaker was going to make the team. Jake Ferguson, who I said was a tight end one, you weren't having a lot of faith in. You were thinking Schoolmakers, but like I said, the sneaky athleticism of Jake Ferguson is just keeps showing.
Yeah.
He can get quick to fast. He can get skinny. He's going to give you we're no longer will have that dimension of tight end that catches the ball for 6 to 8 yards and fall down.
Mhm.
Jake can get busy with it. He's got some yak ability. And Schoolmaker, like I said, will probably be better year two to make that thing a little bit wide. But John Stevens Jr., he's he's gonna be a problem. That frame is big, wide.
Yeah.
He's learning, he's learning how to do certain things a certain kind of way, and he's gonna push some people some other way. I think if Peyton Hendershot doesn't kind of pick it up, yeah, it could be a practice squad type thing for him, or going, getting cut and hopefully making it through waivers and get back, because those four guys right there, um, at least those three, yeah, those three guys right there can be your tight ends one, two, and three, and then you got to be able to do a little something extra to stay on the team.
Let's talk about position redundancies right quick when we're
Okay.
talking about the tight end position. Um, John Stevens and Peyton Hendershot kind of do that same thing. They fill that same mold at the tight end position. So John Stevens has been making it very hard to forego him at the position. Meanwhile, Peyton Hendershot has been having a fairly quiet camp, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has doesn't done anything to make you say, oh, he's making that leap from year one to year two. That's
Mhm.
always been our biggest thing. Vach claim, coined the phrase off-season peanut butter has got to get you to the point that you start seeing the difference of being inside of a football facility 24/7. That's your job
Yeah.
compared to was in college, and go from there. But I think with John Stevens Jr. that you can't get from anywhere else is you can't coach size. He's
Yeah.
6'5". He's 221 pounds.
Mhm.
So
And he has
he
pedigree.
probably
And he has
got
pedigree. His father was a first round talent for the Patriots.
okay. So he's got a little bit of pedigree. So now you get a little little bloodline, a little bit of height, size, and weight, and then in a position where he can be groomed to be tight end 3, tight end, and when the money outsources another guy, he's right there in the wings that you ain't got to give him a lot of money to keep him inside the house. So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful problem to have, but I think it's going to push some other guys off the roster if they aren't in position to do certain things.
Now,
Sean McHugh's the old guy. Go ahead.
back to what I was stating about position redundancies, right? Talking about Peyton Hendershot. Last season, he was an extremely raw talent,
Right.
albeit. But last season, he caught 11 in 9 games, mind you, because he was hurt or inactive in the other games. But he caught 11. He caught 11 receptions on 16 targets for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quite a few of which were, very athletic, spectacular looking catches that, for Cowboys fans, we weren't necessarily used to seeing at the position.
Right. Okay.
But a 103-yard, 2 touchdown game, if that was in 1 week,
Yeah.
hats off to you,
Yeah. I got you.
But that's in 9 games, So is that something that you're not willing to lose? You're
No,
not willing to throw the boomerang, see if it comes back,
but I think the one thing that Hendershot hurt you in is that he's not a sustainable blocker. He's not I think he's a willing blocker.
Yeah.
And he showed you phases where he could do it. But I think what the Cowboys want is a guy who can, kind of get on the edge and be that all-purpose, complete tight end. And
he's a new age tight end. He's a new age tight end, big receiver.
Yeah, he's a big receiver. But I think you get that. But now you drafted 2 big field the seam athletic guys in Jake Ferguson the year before and this year with Luke Schoonmaker. So I think you kind of get the same thing. And I think you still want that 3rd and 4th guy, if you're going to be able to do it, get for special teams or as a backup. And Sean McEwen, who's in that guy, and with John Stevens Jr. So it kind of, barring injury, it may leave Peyton Hendershot as the odd man out. That's what I would say. I would say.
And that's kind of the point that I was trying to make. I don't think that Peyton Hendershot has hit the point that the Cowboys have historically been at as a progress blocker just yet.
No, I don't think anybody's in that position. Well, first off, they're never going to have that position again of a guy who's a flat out, progress stopper. That guy's gone. He ain't got no more hair, and he's gone. So that's not going to happen. I just think you got guys who you're trying to get your Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert type tight end in the building. And I'm talking about big, physical, can block, yak ability, and just a mismatch. And I think you're getting a culmination of that with Schoonmaker, with Jake Ferguson, and as time progresses with John Stevens Jr., you could probably have that. So I think he's a very, very pleasant surprise you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess my surprise, well, really not surprise, but I kind of tweeted it out, and I'm sorry for the mishap with the Twitter. Got hacked, and I had to go and do a new page and everything. But I think the guy who's been my pleasant surprise for me, man, is the young man who we kind of really wrote off was Jalen Tolbert. I think Jalen Tolbert has shown you what a difference when you get a real OC or get a different OC, and you have concepts for route running instead of concepts of running defense of figuring out what a defensive back is going to do. sitting down talking to a young wide receiver this week, and me and him went over the different coverages you have. And he said it's so much harder for a person to running backwards to guard somebody than a guy running forward trying to make a decision what he's going to do. I must force him to do certain things. And I think what Jalen Tolbert has shown us through training camp, through the highlights we've seen, as well as what he did in the game, is that he is a competent, sound, and savvy wide receiver. And I think the addition of Brandon Cooks, but also the subtraction of Joystick Moore, got him to the point that his confidence came back. And I think Jalen Tolbert is.
Keep
are,
going.
we
Keep
going,
going.
are we going to the pad?
Keep going. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying. I think most of the time you say, "Oh, we're better addition by subtraction." I
Yeah.
think the addition of saying, "Hey, go be a route runner," which he was at South Alabama, and be an attack the defensive back instead of letting the defensive back dictate to you, has gotten Jalen Tolbert back to being comfortable and making plays on the ball. But I also think having the addition of Brandon Cooks, who's a true professional, in the room, talking to him, showing him how to work, I think that helped him out as well. So I think Jalen Tolbert is a super duper pleasant surprise.
So I agree. In one of our previous videos, we talked about one of the best benefits for Jalen Tolbert is that he benefits from not having high expectations.
No, you wait a minute. You ain't had no expectations for him.
Yeah.
I had expectations for him because one, he's a third round pick,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the Cowboys. Hindsight, we saw the Cowboys do this back when Michael Gallup was a rookie.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup was a rookie. We turned around. We had just released Dez Bryant. We were like, oh, hey, Dez Bryant's gone. We're just gonna go draft this guy, and he's gonna be able to fill in and be Dez Bryant.
Yeah.
And even though Michael Gallup had a okay rookie campaign, he became exponentially better with the addition of Amari Cooper coming on board.
Yeah.
Once Amari Cooper came on board, then you start seeing him be high point, go get it muscle guy, where you had the savvy route runner and Amari Cooper. So I think what Jalen Tolbert ended up having, he was in the point where he didn't have a guy to kind of groom him about being a pro, right? And be able to take the pressure off him. And he just had a guy who historically has had wide receivers struggle getting inside his system and doing work.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's been Kellen's bag. Let's be honest. Let's get we can go ahead and air the dirty laundry out. He ain't in the house no more. He had a history of receivers having a hard time getting on the field. We had my man who went down to Miami, the wide receiver that we loved.
Cedric Wilson,
right? Cedric Wilson had a hard time getting on the field in Dallas. He started really producing in year 3 and year 4, and it was to the point, let's ship him off somewhere because he need to make some money, which it wasn't a lot of money the Cowboys could have paid him, but they felt they could do it again. And so I think the only reason why CeeDee Lamb didn't have that problem is because Amari Cooper was still there to be the savvy route runner and be to the point he knew how to manipulate DBs, manipulate coverages, and do certain things. But once they got rid of him, now you have one guy come in and try to replace him, who was a first round pick, and because you were expecting, Michael Gallup to come back from an ACL tear 3 months earlier than he should have, but I told you he wasn't going to be right until December. Of
course. So that those expectations were too high on Tolbert. Too high Tolbert. There we go.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
So now we see Jalen Tolbert in a simpler offense. The expectations aren't so high on him because you have Brandon Cooks to be wide receiver 2, and Gallup. I'm gonna talk about Gallup in a little bit. But Jalen Tolbert has a chance to be Jalen Tolbert, right? In a full off season, by the way, any player can always improve,
right?
But we've seen Michael Gallup improve exponentially, and it kind of came to a good keystone point in this game. We in the play that wasn't really a play. I count that as a developmental point for this guy. You know,
I,
I count
okay,
that. I
okay.
count that as a developmental point for me.
Elaborate on what you're talking about, my friend.
The upward turning catch. It was a catch, but it got overturned by a penalty as an OPI. I counted because he got his feet inbounds, but
Okay.
it was kind of like one of those things. Like, was it OPI? Wasn't it? The refs called it back. Whatever, fine. He did all of the right things to get his to make sure that it could have been a catch. That's what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, I think that he still had a fairly productive day. 2 catches for just about 30 yards in a tug. You know,
Yeah, to me he had a really really nice game. The touchdown where he turned around and he did the flat did the over route, or
yeah,
it was, yeah, kind of like the over route, or the dig
mhm,
across, about making the cornerback have to make him drop his feet in that 1 second, was able to get him free and be wide open in the middle of the field. It was just a great route by him, and that's what we
yeah,
did not see from him at all last year.
yeah,
Any confidence in his route running and in his playmaking ability. And let's be honest, that's what got the eye of the Cowboys and the scouts, is
hmm
his playmaking ability, his ability to separate, run routes, be explosive, and that's what he was. I'm still kind of up in the air about the pass interference on that, because both guys running momentum, him getting back to the ball, the guy, that's a judgment call. But
yeah,
our thing is the confidence to throw him the ball and put him in position to make plays.
exactly,
That's what we did not have from him last year. Last year
exactly.
we thought he would be lining up in free safety for the defense when he was on offense. So you just never know. So just clapping for Jalen Tolbert making
Absolutely.
the transition and salvaging, or just coming back after a terrible rookie year and showing great strides in his second campaign. Um, I'm gonna go with the guy who kind of disappointed me. Well, I don't think he disappointed me. I think he just did what I
All of it
expected
is.
him to do.
All of
Huh?
what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say the guy who I've never had a lot of faith in. And I held back my judgment on who he was, even though he came to the organization with a checker pass. Man, I'm gonna just be totally honest with you, man. When the Dallas Cowboys, draft linemen, we're spoiled. There is
Yeah.
not enough supply for the great demand that is needed in the NFL. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm and I got that from Voch. Just listening to him, and I was like, that's exactly what it is. You have a huge demand for big men who can block fast, speedy big men opposing them, and there's
Mhm.
a huge shortage of that. So when the Cowboys draft guys, we expect them, or when they come into Dallas, they turn around and end up being players. And I don't care if it's a Tyler Biotish as a second round, or Connor Williams, who you get.
Mhm.
You turn around and get a Tyler Smith, because they fall on that line of great first round picks of Tyron Smith, Fast Freddie, and daggone Zack Martin, El Presidente, who's back in the
Mhm.
building. And then, even if given time to train and develop, they become a fan favorite, like my main man, Terrence Steele. But Josh Ball is god awful, man.
Yeah.
Josh Ball is terrible, bro.
Yeah.
And I think, we had always alleged that there's a secret file of photos of Jerry doing some outlandish stuff, because, super duper rich people do super duper crazy things, and somebody had the file. And we thought
Huh.
for a minute that Terrence Steele had that file. What we've come to realize is that Terrence Steele was a really good player and was willing
Mhm.
to work and develop to be uh, a serviceable, or uh, highly productive right tackle in the league. Man, Josh Ball could have the Magruder files, and he's getting cut, man, because he's terrible. Okay, he went from a tackle and being terrible. Now they moved him inside the guard, and he's terrible. So really, I think the only reason we keeping him on the team is for cat body, because you were talking about early the pecking order. Now, can you explain to me the pecking order, what you're talking about, and elaborate so we can go forward from there?
Okay, so we now have one preseason game under our belt. We're
Right.
recording this on a Tuesday. I'm probably going to put this up right around midday tomorrow. I kind of got that, that little bit of agency in my job. I can do things when
Yeah.
I want to, right? So with Josh Ball having played a fair amount of snaps against Jacksonville, he played against starters, he played against mid-tier backups, and he played against third-string defensive players, and looked quite a bit below average, to say it kindly, against all three levels.
Right.
The pecking order, the depth chart,
Right.
the chain of command,
Okay.
whatever other synonym you would like me to state it, would say that he would be bumped down for the next preseason game, because now due to the new CBA, there is one less preseason game and there is one less cut in the team building process.
Okay.
Obviously, Zack Martin is who Zack Martin is. Lil Boss pays Zack Martin post haste. He was on the phone on the plane, or not even on the plane. He was on the phone on the way to the crib.
I think he was in the press box on the phone, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, look, the world may
you
never
know.
know. The
Yeah, the
world
world
may
may.
never
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
But
Go ahead.
we then got a chance to see TJ Bass up against probably third string level talent.
Okay.
So I believe that, and this is just my personal belief, because
Mhm.
I also am of the personal belief that Josh Ball is in possession of at the very least, flash drive, where he can just, pull something out like this whenever Jerry walks by, and no
Okay.
one else
Yeah.
is in sight of an encrypted flash drive, of very incriminating, slanderous
Uh-huh.
blackmail evidence.
I don't think it's that. I think this was the
Mhm.
issue was. I think one, you're gonna give him every chance to fail. Okay.
Mhm.
This is year three. This is year three for him.
Yes, it is.
So he was
At
injured.
year 3 in a different position. Keep in mind.
Year three, yeah, but I think it was see if the Cowboys always want to see if you got position flex.
Mhm.
So one, with Zack Martin not being even in the building, it made to the point the Cowboys kind of tried to get they were kind of like my man in Harlem Nights. He was in the back shaking dice. They were in the back shaking dice. Mama need kid need new shoes. Mama need new dress, and they were
Yeah,
trying to play craps.
yeah.
And I think they were saying, well, if Josh Ball goes out here and shows signs of being able to play guard, then we may be able to be a little tough, a little hold out a little bit longer with Zack Martin.
Mhm.
And when they saw that Josh Ball had no chance of being anything close to damn Connor Williams, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't close to Connor McGovern. He
Mhm.
wasn't close to nobody. They turned around and said, okay, Zach's not in the building. Chimia Adoga is hurt. And we put this
And
dude out.
also Chuma Edoga is.
Yeah, he's that. So if we already know what we have in him, at least he can play some snaps. This guy really doesn't have anything to do but try to help us get to the third preseason game. And then he'll probably be off somewhere selling life insurance.
Yeah.
Or maybe back in his hometown doing something. I don't know, but I don't think he gets a snap. I don't think he plays another regular season game in the NFL. Not for the Dallas Cowboys.
Not for the Dallas Cowboys. Not for the Dallas
Yeah.
Cowboys. Now to continue my thought, I think that by virtue of Zack Martin's particularly poor play, I think that
Zack Martin's.
Excuse me. Freudian slip.
Yeah, because that don't even go together.
Yeah,
That's like
see,
what? Huh?
and I'm glad that you
Zack
brought that.
Martin did. Yeah,
Excuse me. Josh Ball's particularly bad
there
play.
you go. Okay.
I believe that TJ Bass has to be bumped up in the pecking order. He didn't necessarily have a particularly amazing game, but it's worth seeing how he would look against higher level talent. Meaning, you don't necessarily put him out there against the starters, but you put him out there against the backups, the second tier backups, because he played against the third tier backups. Didn't have an amazing game, but he didn't look as bad as Josh Ball. You put him out there against the second tier.
Yeah.
It's like a ladder. He started off on the ground. You don't put him on the roof of the house, but you put him
Right.
there.
Yeah, I get you that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the measurables. He's 6'4", he's 325. He didn't play terrible. And the thing about it is you're still trying to find a swing guard. You're in the process of trying to find a swing guard. So I think you're kind of solid with the tackle game. Because I think Asim Richards proved himself well that he because I thought he was going to end up being a guard, but I think he proved himself well enough as a tackle, which I think between him and Waletzko, that's got to be somebody who can play the left side. Because like I said,
And Matt Waletzko thankfully got another year under his belt. He got a little bigger, got a little stronger.
There you go. So like I said, I think
we have the technology. We can make him bigger, stronger, faster, better than he was before.
Okay, Steve Austin. Okay. I'm saying, yeah, but we did do that. And so I think Josh Bell's just playing to get to the third preseason game. I think if you come out against this game on Saturday and TJ Bass is starting early and you start seeing Josh Bell in the third and fourth quarters, that'll kind of seal his fate, I believe. I think that'll kind of seal his fate.
Start to fall,
Yeah. I think I already think they're already down. I already think they slamming out. It's already in the wash. But they about to go ahead and do their thing and show their hand. That's definitely gonna be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you were talking about making it bigger and stronger and faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an adage for a great TV show, The $6 Million Man. I didn't know you had that one in your repertoire. But let's talk about the $16 million man.
Yeah.
A little bit more than that, like maybe $16, $17 million man. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Zack Martin.
Had to happen. I believe that it might have been, like I said, Josh Ball might not be the best football player, but Josh Ball ain't stupid. Josh Ball is not stupid.
Okay.
Josh Ball said, you know what, this team ain't gonna succeed without Zack Martin here. Josh Ball went out there and played, a Chaz Green level game. and made Lil Boss realize that this team will not succeed without Zach out there. And
I don't think
Stephen Jones picked up the phone and said, "Well, Zach, well, Zach, we're gonna go ahead and get you back."
Yeah,
did it without the media figuring it out, and that's one thing that I like about the way that Stephen does business.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you elaborate on that.
That is now is that the third contract this offseason, or is that the second that has gotten done with minimal media involvement?
Well, we're gonna go with the two that we know of. Well, no, it's the third. Because the first one was Trayvon Diggs, his deal. We didn't hear a whole bunch of hoopla back and forth. He made the deal and went forward. He got it done. Then he turned around and got Malik Hooker re-signed, which I think was super smart, low profile, underneath the radar, right? And then even though Jerry tried to put it out there in the court of public opinion,
that fire got put out instantly.
Yeah, that it got done. So I like the way Little Boss is moving. Hey, I'm gonna give you some guaranteed money. I'm gonna set it to the point that we're gonna give it on a 2-year. You get all your money up front. We ain't trying to break the bank.
Yep. And he's now averaging $18 million a year.
Absolutely.
Which is still not the highest paid guard in the league. The highest paid guard in the league right now is making $20.5 million a year. That's Quentin
Nelson. Yeah, no, I thought it was the kid for the no, Quentin Nelson. I thought he was the second highest, but it's either Quentin Nelson or someone else. But what I did see, what it is, it was just showing him They give him a little tap. Hey, listen, he got his money early because he said, hey, I'm going to, these next 2 years, I think between me and Tyron, we're going to turn around. Tyron's going to lead, and then I'm going to be right behind him. And then that, that great wall, that second wave of great wall of Dallas would have fully retired out of Dallas. So I think it was just respectful.
Yeah.
I know Zach didn't want to put it out there in the media. I think Jerry was trying to do some kind of old tactics, and Steve was like, hey, Father, I
Yeah.
love you, but let me handle this. Let me handle this. And I like the way he did it. Cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sets the table for, when we start going into draft season, we'll be looking at guards rather early this year because I think guards and tackles, we'll be looking at them rather early when we start doing our draft analysis on what the Cowboys' biggest needs are going to be. But it's great to have him back in the building. He didn't have to go out to Oxnard and mess around for those 2 weeks. I know he did his work, and it's going to take him a week or two to get back to being who Zack Martin is. But let's not get it twisted. He is the greatest guard in Dallas Cowboy history. In pecking order is Zack Martin, and you can fight between Nate Newton and Herb Scott of being the next two greatest guards in Dallas Cowboy history. But for a guy to have 8 years in the league and eight all pros, or 9 years of league, eight all pros, and the majority of those being first team, man, Zack Martin is the quintessential piece to making this offensive line. Yeah. Oh man, come on, man. Yeah, that's what it is. He's got more Pro Bowls than he has penalties, and that just goes to say, hey, he's going to come back in rare form. And they just took care of our guy, and that was important.
Absolutely. And just to answer your question, Chris Lindstrom right now is the
right
guard in the league.
Right.
Yes, $20.5 million per year on average.
Hey,
after that, it's Quentin Nelson and
Quentin Nelson,
Zack
right?
Martin.
Okay, then that's fine. Just give that man his respect. That's all we want to do. Give that man his respect.
Wanted, man. That's all we want.
Respect.
Right. And those two make 20 or more per year. Zach is averaging 18.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it. I'm
great. Listen, if he like it, I love it. He back in camp, and as long as I ain't got to see Josh Ball try to block nobody, I don't care who it is. I'm good.
Talk about it.
So
one guy that we didn't get to talk about, man. One guy that we did not get a chance to talk about. Our little electric Speedy Gonzalez running back.
Hold up. We're gonna stop doing that. We're gonna stop calling that man little.
Man
is a grown. That's a grown man.
Little man.
He is
what
not.
What was the name of Kevin Hart's special?
Listen, I'd rather call him Mighty Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give him big. I want to give him large.
You can give him large respect. You can give him a large amount of praise.
Okay.
You can give him a large amount of anything, but he is not a large man. That's the only thing.
I'm gonna tell you something. Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you. He might be small and diminutive in stature.
Yeah.
Of the two guys on our football team that are under 5'6", I want to see the guy with the 42 on his jersey moving around with the ball a whole lot more. Absolutely. I want to see this. I want to see the second coming of Barry Church's number on the field doing stuff more than I want the guy who's wearing Romo's old number handling the ball. Because we ain't even talking about him.
Nah, man. Wait, Kevontae Turpin's under 5'6"? I thought he was like 5'9".
Man, for Kevontae Turpin is small and light. Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. We never doubted Deuce Vaughn's skills. We always knew he had the skills to pay the bills. My only worry was that could he take an NFL level hit and then get back up repeatedly? My nerves were settled.
Okay.
Because even though these are backups, they still got years in the league. They still got grown man bodies. So, my nerves got settled. Deuce Vaughn went out there and had a 50-yard day. Caught 3 receptions. One of which went over his hands. He missed a reception. A target. Excuse me. just because he's lacking in height.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to try to throw down to him, man. I give you that.
Yeah, yeah,
I get that, right?
But that's something that's a mistake that I don't think that Dak would make. I think that Will Greer was out there, a little shell shocked in some situations. Same thing with
Okay.
Cooper Rush. Um, but when Deuce Vaughn had the ball in his hands, I think that he was electric. To the point where he, but I would have took him out of the game earlier.
Well, okay. I think he did. I think you wanted to see him work in the
Absolutely.
position where he worked. He brought what we wanted from him. He put a spark inside the game. You're
Yeah.
down 14-0, and you wanted to get something going. So you put him back on the kickoff return. Boom, he gets it going in the kickoff game.
Yep.
Then he turns around and he shows you what he did at K-State and what he's been doing his whole life, making people miss.
Yep.
And that is the one thing we have been missing from our running backs outside of Tony
Yeah.
over the last couple of years. Is that when you block it up and you got one guy who's got to make a play, he's making people look simple, and especially the third stringer. So now you want to see how he plays against second stringers. So it was a lot of stuff going on in that situation. The way they started, one guy. They didn't start Rico.
No.
And he came in and he was effective. And then we had Deuce be productive. So I just think a guy who had another kind of downside day was Malik. And I think I think Malik Davis.
Malik,
I think
Malik is the guy that is looking like his stock is down.
Yeah, I think he missed a great opportunity in a couple of the way he was running the football, not being patient. Also in his pass protection, when he ended up getting Cooper Rush sacked early in one of those drives. I think that was a real down day for him, where it could have been a uptick for him because Rico is a guy that they love in the organization, but Rico has prided himself on being a pass pro kind of guy. So the one thing that we've always loved and we loved about Zeke and everything he did was that he was such a great pass blocker and pass protector.
Yeah.
He took pride in it. And
he was very complete.
Yeah, he was very complete. So you keep that stable. We talked about the stable of backs. You got Tony, you got Malik, who's got to prove something. Rico is trying to show some things, but with Deuce Vaughn, you gotta get him the ball.
Yeah.
I think Deuce goes into the package where we had for years. Tony has to touch the ball 12 to 15 times. I think that's
I'm glad that you're starting this conversation. I'm going to kind of advance it a step forward. So we can be appreciative now that the front office and coaching staff has gotten rid of the bell cow mentality now. They are now committed to the committee approach. It's weird that I'm using the same root word, but in two different ways, right? They're committed to the committee approach. So now the next question is how much of a workload are guys like because we already know that they have a plan for Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn has been seeing work with the ones in camp. Deuce Vaughn has been seeing he saw a heavy workload in camp, so we know that they have a plan for him. Who is the next guy going to be? Is it going to be Rico? Is it going to be Hunter Lepke? We already know that they have a plan for Tony. So, I'm not sure if Deuce Vaughn is going to be your RB2. So whoever is going to be that's a question for probably after preseason game 2. I'm not going to approach that yet. But your committee, how is that workload going to be divvied up? That is now your major question, because the bell cow approach is no longer in discussion. They've already said that. We also saw Hunter Lepke get in the game, and I think that he has something there, and we know that Mike McCarthy likes the fullback position. You know, we're gonna hopefully see some more of him, and hopefully in a variety of ways in the next preseason game against Seattle. Excuse me, just read a few notes here.
Yeah.
But whoever that third guy is, likely won't be Ronald Jones because we didn't see any of him.
Yeah, I don't think. See, I think the
we
whole
don't need to see
situation.
we don't need to see no Ronald Jones though, Chris.
I don't think there's anything that Ronald Jones is going to show you that you don't already know he can do. I
Yeah.
think the game you had, you wanted to see what your three young guys could do.
Yep.
You wanted to see, and I think so. The next preseason game, I think that if they start Rico and then the question is going to be who's the first guy off the bench. So if they do Rico and then they turn around and do Deuce Vaughn and then do Malik Davis, I think that'll be a telltale sign. And that will, and then even with Ronald Jones and Hunter Lemke, I think you have to find out if once you cut Ronald Jones because he's not going to be available for the first two games, does he have to clear waivers? Or if Ronald Jones can just get cut and after game one, you just bring him back under the league minimum and go from there. I know how much we love the fact that Mike McCarthy uses tight ends, but I think everybody's got a Hunter Lemke on their roster. Everybody's got that guy. Yeah, maybe. No, I think everybody's got a guy.
The only reason that I say maybe is not a lot of teams use the fullback position.
Yeah, but I think you kind of want to. We're calling him a fullback, but I think the way the Tex West is running, you might not have a lot of I formation type sets. You'll have a lot of pistol and offset thing, and I think Hunter can work inside of that and work inside of a rotation if you want to have a bruiser late in the game. Yeah. But I think everybody has that guy, and it's not just so much we can use him as a fullback because you still got 3 to 4 tight ends that you got on the roster that you want to really use. You can use a Sean McEwen. You can use a Luke Schoonmaker as a fullback if you want to pound the ball late in the game. So those three guys may have a hard time making this roster. I think if you're going to keep a fourth tight end, I think it's going to come down to what's going to happen to Hunter Lemke, practice squad, Ronald Jones because he got to get cut because of the suspension, and how it works out the battle between Malik Davis and Rico Dowdle. Because I don't think everybody else in this conversation we're having, there's no chance that they're not going to be getting a roster and making this team. There's no possible way that that's going to happen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Of course.
Yeah. Coming. Yeah.
We ain't talking none about this defense, man.
I mean, what is known doesn't have to be spoken about, man. What you know to be true and what you see doesn't have to be spoken about. I think I just want to talk about the one thing that you always railed on. And your biggest problem, your biggest question was your depth at linebacker.
Yep.
I believe that question has already been answered. You got the number? Oh, well, okay. Why not?
Because I think that Jabril Cox's days may be numbered.
Elaborate, my friend.
Like I said, Jabril Cox's thing is you can always see the wheels turning, right? You can always see the wheels turning. Now, thankfully, we kind of looked at DeMarvion Overshown's as, and I added an S for some odd reason. We kind of looked at him when he was drafted as kind of like a project, but hopefully, we might actually have something there.
Mm-hmm.
But did Cox kind of show you anything in this game?
Not that stuck out on paper for me. I think the biggest thing that we saw happen is the progression of Damone Clark from year 1 to year 2. Yeah. And so his elevation of his play, his speed, his knowledge of what he's doing, and I think has really, really helped him a lot in the offseason. So I think with Overshown and with Damone Clark, and if you can have those guys on the field and sprinkle in a little savvy vetness with Leighton Vander Esch, and then that keeps Micah as the one thing we always wanted him to be, a defensive piece.
Yeah.
I think that helps. And so I'm not so much as saying we're going, Jabril Cox is getting cut. I think he'll probably play out his contract and go somewhere else and just not be and go down as not being a great fit for the Cowboys. I think
Yeah,
that's
man.
what Matt can take.
And it sucks because I thought that when he was drafted, he was one of the much better coverage linebackers in the draft class. It just it never panned out.
Yeah,
He never able to adjust to the next level from what I see right now. And he had plenty of chances in NFL games.
Well,
But
I don't think.
This is now going into year 3, I think.
This is going to year 3. This is going into year 3. But I'm not going to say he had plenty of chances. I think he showed you his quickness and his upside. Mm-hmm. Then he tears his ACL, and then I think he's just getting back to trusting his need to do what he has to do. So he lost a whole year because of injury.
Yeah.
But the thing about it with Dan Quinn keeps reloading in certain positions where, like as you say, position redundancy. He wants to have those kind of players all over. And when you get the Overshown playing the way he's doing and the jump that you got from Clark, I think it gets you to the point of keep pushing, Brill back because these guys are just better.
Yeah. Yeah, and that just might be the case right there. It's evolve or die, and guess what's happening,
That's how it goes. So that's the only thing I see in that.
Yeah.
So you got anything else, bro?
I mean, we could talk ad nauseum about guys like Eric Stott versus Kelvin Joseph. Kelvin Joseph kind of had a better day in the actual game, but Eric Stott's having a better camp, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, see how it progresses.
Yeah.
See how it progresses.
But we'll save that for another time. We've already been going for 47 minutes. With that being said, though, if you have stuck around for this whole 47-minute video, go ahead and smack that like button. Even better. Even more so. Hit that subscribe button so you can know when we drop more dope content like this.
No doubt.
Because we love when you interact with us. And if you do love interacting with us, go ahead and drop a comment. Because if you think that you think that we have a wrong interpretation of Jalen Tolbert, TJ Bass, if you think that Josh Ball doesn't have any incriminating photos or comments about Jerry Jones, leave a comment down below, and I'll let you know that you're wrong because I think it's good. leave a comment down below, and I'll tell you. But until then, I am your humble host, Brandon, and that, as always, is my man Hunter Grant. He calls himself his Robin, but for every Captain America, there's one a soldier. That's my guy. Set it off first.
Hey man, that's what's up. And we will be Frankly Football. And until next time,
peace.